Anyone using waterways or the foreshore to make money could be in for a shock. A Bay of Plenty council's looking at charging oyster farmers $2,000 a hectare for using a public waterway, and the proposal has implications for other users.
It's almost 40 years since oyster farmers staked their claim on this area of the Bay of Plenty mudflat. But now Environmental Bay of Plenty wants farmers like Rick York to pay for the privilege. It says the oyster racks are occupying space belonging to all of us.
There will be some form of occupation charge under the policy. He's running basically his private business in the public domain.
And that could spell the end for marine farmers.
It's one which has come out of the blue. The minimum charge was $1,000 a hectare up to $6,000. At the moment, the industry is not making that sort of money.
Environmental BOP says its job is to look after the public good, and the farmers should pay because they're stopping everyone using this part of the foreshore.
The reality is, if anyone can get out of paying something they don't have to pay, they will. Wouldn't we all?
It's an argument Rick York would like the public to decide, not the local authority.
According to my interpretation of the foreshore and seabed, it's the public's land. And yeah, as I said, ask the public if I'm doing them a good turn or a bad turn.
Irrespective of who the person was, what the scale of the activity was, the principles would be applied, whether it was a marina, whether it was a jetty, whether it was an oyster farm.
And this proposal could affect anyone who uses the public waterways for their business.
If there's going to be another charge upon another charge upon another charge, it certainly is going to make things quite difficult.
The Oyster Association sees the proposal to charge as a kick in the guts for the industry and will take its case to the government tomorrow. Tini Molyneux, One News.
India is preparing for uneasy celebrations on the eve of the biggest festival of the Hindu year. The capital, Delhi, remains on high alert after the triple bomb blast that killed 59 people at the weekend. An obscure Kashmiri militant group has claimed responsibility.
Clearing the debris on what should have been Delhi's busiest shopping day ahead of the Hindu celebration of Diwali on Tuesday. And among it, at this blast site, earthenware pots that had been destined to hold the lamps during the Festival of Light. And this, the remains of someone's shoes. There was much poignancy in the carnage caused by the bombers. This amateur video shot in the immediate aftermath of the bombings, capturing the panic and the fear that descended on this capital city with this coordinated onslaught. Measuring the evidence, there was intensive forensic work going on today at the three blast sites. And investigators said they were working on several leads, but they remained wary of laying the blame on any specific organisation. Some Indian-based security experts, though, are less reluctant.
Although an obscure underground Kashmir group has claimed responsibility, this appears to be the handiwork of the Lashkar-e-Toiba, which is an Al-Qaeda-linked Pakistan-based organization that has been labelled a terrorist body both by India and the United States.
Tonight, increased vigilance as some shops reopened at Sarojini Nagar, where there was the largest number of casualties, and as they lit the lamps. Not for Diwali, but for the victims.
She inspired America's civil rights movement, and now Rosa Parks has become the first woman to lie in state at the Capitol Rotunda in Washington, D.C. Earlier, hundreds gathered at a church in Montgomery, Alabama to pay tribute to the woman who 50 years ago refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white man.
We should commit ourselves to continuing the journey. We're not there yet.
I think I can quite honestly say that without Mrs. Parks, I would probably not be standing here today as Secretary of State.
Mrs. Parks died on Friday at her home in Detroit. She was 92. A medical aid project funded by New Zealand is tackling a deep problem in the remote northern Cook Island of Manihiki. Pearl farming provides a living for the islanders, but every year at least one pearl diver dies from the bends.
Manahiki's black pearl industry hasn't come cheap. Its pearl-rich lagoon is costing lives.
The problem about 1 a year diver is dying from the bends.
The country's Red Cross wants to change that. This Outer Islands program is part of a $60,000 annual aid package from New Zealand. Pearl farmers say it's crucial their workers are protected.
Working in the water, diving, sometimes we have some accident. That's why we need the people to learn how to save life.
Isolation for these islands is a problem. It's 4 hours flying from the main island of Rarotonga, and help often doesn't arrive in time. Doctors are teaching local divers first aid and diving planning to prevent deaths.
And they go down and don't know how long, how deep, and it can be prevented easily by having a dive profile before you go diving.
Pearl farming's hard labour, but this easy lesson could mean survival in a lagoon the people depend on for their livelihood. Barbara Drever, One News.
Well, coming up after the break, a warning for barge operators following the deaths of 2 truckies. And wheels fit for a pope, but how much would you pay for them?
This machine detects a heartbeat. Does it? You found one? I mean, that's what it's for.
And have you found one? Coronation Street, Tuesday on 1.